Welcome to another live show. I'm Nigel Maine, and we should have a pretty interesting show today. What a week! Got to start off with a bit of a week. I hope you've had a great week. I know some people haven't, especially over in the States, and I'll come on to that in a minute. Excuse me. I mean, also ChatGPT 4. Have you seen there? I think that's pretty good news for most businesses, considering this kind of business stuff is all about content. And so ChatGPT improving what they can provide businesses in terms of its written content. So this week's show, this is kind of, you could say, is the big one, because this is how do you get that exposure? How do you reach out? How do you make it happen? What I want to do is explain how I say you should flip your pipeline and profitability and completely change the future of your company. I mean, it's a bit of a no pressure. Hang on a second. It's got to be something to do with going live. It's got to be. If you go live, you think everything's fine. We've got everything set up. We've got everything working, and you start coughing. So this week's show, let's get some of these slides up. This week's show, it's not about what you do, it's how you do it. And the key thing is that I know a lot of companies, with regard to their salespeople, think, right, well, we're not getting what we need, we're not getting the leads we need, and so on. We're not getting the business we need, so therefore retrain the salespeople. I completely disagree. And I'm going to explain today why I disagree, why you don't need a new sales technique, you need a new approach to new business completely. So let's get on with it. That's it. We all want new business. Now, if you sell technology, SaaS or services, that type of thing, you probably, you've got a good product. Product works fine. You update it. Your product evolves. You're not, you may not be doing a minimum viable product and a lean approach. So your product is functional and you can sell it. Happy days. So why aren't people doing the same thing and applying the same logic to their new business development? And I think that it's got a lot to do with how everything fits together. There's a big picture. We all know it's a big picture. And if you look at what is expected, you could say, well, in terms of your pipeline and your target, you want to have about 5 times your target as your pipeline. 80-20 rule applies. Happy days. Everyone's doing what they want to do. But that is rarely the case. People rarely have a sufficient pipeline and constantly scratch every month to try and do target all their quota. And the reason, my logic for this, the reason behind it, is because B2B have bought in hook, line and sinker everything that B2B marketing have told them to do with regards to demand gen, lead gen, ABM and so on. So it's a constant problem that kind of keeps revolving around. If you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. So why? Why does it keep happening? Well, if you look at this situation here with the banks, no doubt you've heard these banks support and look after and service technology, SaaS and services organisations, the same ones that we're talking to. And I'm not going to get into the whys and wherefores about whether to do with Bitcoin, crypto, government bonds, interest rates, low deposits. I'm not going to get into any of that. Suffice to say, I've been following it. But to deal with this, and it's, we know that the bank thing is quite prevalent even today with Credit Suisse. But the point being is that there's this expectation that businesses will keep raising money. I call it alphabet funding because you've got Series A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and so on. I saw a company recently that had 1,000 staff and 1,000 employees, and they had raised another 170-80 million. And now they're looking for a marketing person, someone to help them go and make it fly and smash it. Really? 1,000 people, X million turnover. You think, well, wow. Do the maths. 109 grand per person per annum turnover. When considering the rest of the industry in the say the software industry is in the region of 144 grand per person per annum. So no wonder they're still trying to generate revenue. Get more income in terms of their investment. So there seems to be a mismatch. There's a misalignment somewhere along the line. And, you know, if you look at it, you think, well, your product's okay, but your pipeline and your income is diminishing. But it's a constant problem. And even the best organisations, you know, looking at the banks, are going to fall foul. So what do you do if you can't trust in certain institutions? Well, you've got to kind of sit back and join the dots. And the reason I've got to go through this, because turning around and saying, I've got a great idea here, this is the methodology you need to adopt, you'll be sitting there going, well, yeah, you think, you know, we've been in business this long, who do you think you are? But the trouble is that people aren't joining the dots and looking at what's actually going on in industries to understand why these failures keep happening, not just with the banks, but companies in general. So if you look at this, the failure rates. So 20, 30, 50, 91. 20% go bust in the first year, 30 in the second, 50 in the third, 91 by the 10th. Now correlate that, join the dots, correlate that with the average tenure of CEOs over the same period. A company will have, the average tenure for a CEO is 7 years. So at the end of 10 years, they've had 2 CEOs. But then you look at the CMOs, and the average tenure is 18 months, which means they're on their 7th CMO in 10 years. That's shocking. I mean, in the extreme. So then you look at go, okay, what about businesses that have received investment? You go, well, okay. Businesses that receive investment, so 40% go bust anyway. 75% don't achieve their targets that they set themselves. And 95% don't achieve a return on investment for the investors. But then we kind of know that because a group of investors will get together, put money into a big fund, and that fund will go and invest in a load of companies, and they're hoping for a small number that are going to go and fly and become their unicorns, and they'll make their money back, which is why they keep doing it. But 50% of the reasons are based upon marketing problems, so say CB Insights. Again, if 50% of the problems are marketing related, the senior marketing people are churned every 18 months. My button's not working. It's because everyone's doing the same thing. Think about it. You've got to think about this. And those previous statistics are from the Financial Times and Harvard Business Review. So if you think about this, business owner comes up with the idea, goes out and gets the money, comes back with the money, go and hires a CMO. CMO joins the company, says, spend all this money doing this, settle this all with this MarTech sales tech stacks. So you've got demand gen, lead gen, ABM, marketing automation, BDRs, bit of pay-per-click and so on. So everybody's told to go and do that. And they go and do it, and they churn every 18 months. And it gets even more costly because the founders and the investors think, there's a bit of a problem here. How are we going to resolve this? Tell you what, let's go and get a headhunter. So you go and get a headhunter to go and find this marketing superstar that they need. And meanwhile, back at the ranch, that marketing person is thinking, I'm on my way out anyway because I've been at my current place 18 months. They come in, they swan in, and same thing, same cycle happens again. So the C-suite within businesses believes that the company can achieve greatness, but they have been misled. They are being misled by the current marketing strategies that are being executed by current day marketers. They don't work. I said before, previous streams, it's because they've been designed for consumers, not for businesses. So I'll come to that in a second. So everyone's doing the same thing. And even with that, this is apart from it being a nod to, I think it was Jodie Foster and Matthew McConaughey in the film First Contact. But that's beside the point. I think it was called Contact. But that's beside the point. What's happening now is that the people responsible for First Contact are marketing. And that includes BDRs. So BDRs are now reporting to marketing as well, in some cases, in many cases, because all of that activity happens over there. So if you've got this high churn of CMOs, you've got the BDR people reporting to marketing, you think, well, why is it going wrong? And this is the critical part. Excuse me for looking down here, because this is where it has to change. Your website works, your product works, salespeople are trained to within an inch of their lives, and all your staff are capable of doing the jobs that they've been employed to do. So what's stopping you? Why aren't you flying? It's just that little word, exposure. And without it, you have no business. It's not going to work. But the thing is, the thing about it is that without exposure, no meetings, no discussions, no presentation demonstrations, nothing. Everything starts with exposure. So how do you get it when it's so difficult? And this really is where we're at with everybody. Get lost. I'm not interested. I'm busy. And, you think about business owners, business owners I'm a business owner. I've been in business for 35 years. 32, 35. Anyway, we have problems. We think about our problems. A salesperson rings you up and says, I want to come and sell you something to sort out your problem. You go, I haven't got that problem. I've got a raft of problems over here. It's a bit like a doctor ringing you up saying, come in and let's do a checkup. I want to see if you're ill. Or your car mechanic saying, bring your car in. I want to check it out and see if I can sell you some repairs. Not happening. But it's never happened. It's never changed. It's always been the same. As business owners, we have problems, we have things that we're dealing with. If there are issues and things that need to be dealt with, then it will come up through the ranks and present itself to a manager, to a director, discussed at a board meeting, and then decide to buy it. That's how it works. We know it works that way. So the problem at the moment is that everyone wants business as quick as possible. Marketing works with a kind of a just-in-time approach in terms of like manufacturing. You want to connect with the man, the money authority need, and marketing try and get their information put out everywhere. Facebook, Twitter, wherever. But the people that the money authority need, they're not thinking business when they're on those platforms. They're thinking family, kids, hobbies, whatever. So there has to be a method, a way that can engage everyone at the right time with the knowledge, and it needs to be repetitive because that's part and parcel of a marketing logic and not an intellect thing, but it's how we respond. We respond to repetition. So the only way you can do it is to break away from everybody else. You cannot do the same as everybody else, because if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. And then we do know that everybody's got the same software. Whether you've got Marketo, Eloquent, Pardot, HubSpot, whatever. Everyone's got the same software. So they've got the same software, the same CRMs, the same infrastructure, pay-per-click. Everybody's doing the same thing. So you've got to do something different. You have no choice but to do something different if you want to get ahead of the curve. So what do? The simplest, logical, easiest, low-cost thing to do, put on a live show. Invite everybody to your live show. And I mean everybody, in terms of your target market. Yeah? So, remember these points, okay? So we've got these 4 points. This is business. Exposure, engagement, education, close. Keep it simple. I mean, absolutely keep this simple. So, the first thing we deal with is exposure. Now, if you've been following the previous streams, the first thing we talked about was your content. The second thing we talked about was getting general exposure and getting that visibility. So if you've done those 2 things, the first thing is making sure that your prospects can self-serve, self-educate, and stay anonymous, because they don't want you to know who they are. That's the first thing you need to do. And the second thing, once you've taken care of that, Social 444, so it's this automated methodology and approach to systemize exposure, just keeping your information and name out there in a variety of different ways, 4 times a day, 4 weeks and repeat, every 4 weeks and repeat. So we've got those 2 things out of the way. So the next thing you need to come up with or understand is your target market. So say, for example, if you look at the figures below, 0 to 10, 11 to 49, and so on. Say, for example, your target market is somewhere within those upper numbers, between 50 and above, 50 employees and above. So if you've got 50 employees, you're doing about 6 million, give or take, which means they could probably afford the software that you've got, whatever. And if not, fine, you just go bigger. So we want a target market of 10,000 businesses or organisations. I don't know whether it's public sector or government, not bothered. So 10,000. So we know we can get hold of a 10,000 name database in the UK very easily. £300, £350 per thousand. So it costs £3,500. There's your database if you haven't already got one, which I'm sure you already have sitting on within Salesforce or whichever CRM you've got. And the reason I've got that asterisk down the bottom is because I came across a data company in Europe, they're in Germany, and they had over 50 million B2B organisations around Europe. So there's absolutely no shortage of data. So we've got all this. We know we can get 10,000 is our target. That's fine. No problem. Doesn't need to be a million, but it just needs to be a manageable number, because this is where we're at. So I wonder why those let's go back again. I wonder why those characters are at the bottom of the screen, because that's something from the PowerPoint. Anyway, big picture. I digress. You've got a 10,000 name database. Of your 10,000 name database, we know, because we're in sales, that between 1 and 15% of our target market, our total addressable target market, are looking to begin their journey to buy the products that we choose to go and sell. So if you're selling BPM software, between 1 and 15% of your target market are looking to start their journey and start to look at a new supplier. That's how it works. That's why we're in business. That's why we're able to do what we do. So, if that's why you're in business, that's great, because we want pipeline and leads. I couldn't resist putting this up. But you couldn't handle the leads, because that means 1% of 10,000 is 100. Could you handle 100 leads a week? No, probably not. I mean, you think of the logic. Have you ever heard any company say, "Oh, do you know what? We've got so many leads, so much business coming in. People throwing themselves at us. Can't cope. We're constantly recruiting new salespeople for new territories because we just can't cope." Said nobody ever. And so that's the problem. But the issue is, if you were to get 100 leads, okay, what can I say? Great. It could be 1,500, but you wouldn't want that. That'd be a bit too many. but go with this figure of 100. If you got 50, you would need 50 BDRs to achieve the same, which would cost you £2.5 million a year, give or take. You would do it. So, how are we going to do this? So we're saying that you've got to get this information, this data, and so on, and we're going to speak to these people and so on. The approach is simple. You've got to invite them first and then do the show. So inviting them comes from this process. You email 10,000 companies 6 to 8 weeks, even 3 months before you plan to do your live show. It's not complicated. This is just so not complicated. And you message them once a week. And then a week before the show, you message them every day for 7 days. And then on the day of doing the show, say we're live in an hour or a couple of hours' time or whatever, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Now, some people this will be interesting, some not bothered. Using marketing automation platforms, they charge based upon the number of active contacts. So having 10,000 or more, depending on what you do, where you are, and so on, could be very expensive. MailChimp, we've all heard of Intuit, MailChimp, everybody. About £100 a month to send out 12 emails to 10,000 businesses. £100, thereabouts. Yeah? So it's not about the money. It's about getting the accurate exposure. So that's that first bit. The second bit is you take the same database that you've got, the same 10,000 name database, you upload it to LinkedIn, and then you do a series of banner adverts on LinkedIn that will appear in the same feed as the people that you were emailing. Come and join us, come and watch us, and so on and so on and so on. Okay? Now, the whole thing about it is that it's not a pinch of salt, but it's just caution, because just because you're going to send out a load of emails, it doesn't mean they're going to bite. But equally, it takes time. And the same reason you need, I've said this before, 1 in 3 messages get through, which means you need a certain number of messaging going out. You want to try and get them to follow you, either you individually or you as a company, preferably as a company, and so on. So they get to see your content and they gradually buy into you. It's not going to happen overnight. So it just takes time. But at least we're talking about a strategy here which costs pennies and does not require you employing 5, 10, 15 people to make this happen. To an extent, it's set and forget. Contract it out. That's another story, another conversation. So whatever you're thinking now, you're thinking, okay, well, I've said what I've said. We talked about being everywhere and doing what you need to do. We've covered social media, the caution, and so on. And the thing is about all of this is that you are you're building up. You're building up to something. This isn't flash in the pan. You're building up to something over a 3, 4, 5, 6 month period. And you're looking to start something that doesn't need to stop because it's automated. Something that rarely happens in business because you've still got a churn of people in BDRs. I mean, if ever there was an analogy for BDRs, you're looking at a needle in a haystack, trying to find someone that's interested. So they're picking up a piece of hay in the haystack and saying, I'm going to call this person. Oh, they're not in. And they put it back. And pick up another piece of hay and try and call them and try and contact them and put it back. I tell you what, we're going to be more effective than that because we're going to use Zoom Info, Cognism and Sales Navigator. We're going to find out their inside leg measurement first and then call them up. And they're not in. They don't want to talk to you. So it's futile because it's a one-to-one process, which is what I've talked about before. You don't want a one-to-one, you want one-to-many. So whatever you're thinking at the moment, this is really important. Whatever you're thinking at the moment, you are somewhere on this curve. If you're thinking, well, wait a second, so far so good. I mean, he's made a lot of sense. We could do this. I mean, the fact that I do it says that you don't need lots of people. Just need to plan, go and do it. And that's why I'm doing this. But the bottom line is that even if you go off and do it yourself, it doesn't matter. I'm pleased for you. So this is your adoption curve. Are you in the first 2.5%? Or the next lot, the innovators, the early adopters. That's where you make it. That's where you make a massive impact because your competition are not doing it. If you think about it, I can only reach out to so many people. I would only reach out to so many people. Your target market is waiting for this, and your competition are not doing it because they're all doing the other stuff, churning from the pool of marketing people. They're all coming out of the same pool. When they leave your company or a company, they go back into the pool and somebody else picks them out. And they're all doing the same thing. They've all qualified the same, all doing the same, bought the same. Nothing's different. So that's something for you to think about. Next part, engagement. This is the kicker. This is really the real kicker. So here we go. Doing a show like this, for example, is not quite like this because this is kind of like the educational bit. And the point of this is I'm just sowing seeds at the moment. I think that's the best way to describe it because you as a company, you have your product that most businesses of yours who you typically sell to, most of them know your product exists. With whether it's their technical people know that your software exists or you've got a hardware product, and so most people know it exists. So the businesses and the people running those businesses have not been living under a rock for the past 20 years, and they don't know what tech's available, whether they go on G2 or whatever, but they know what's available. So let's take that as read. So the first thing that you want to be able to do is communicate something that shows that you're approachable, that you're fun, that you're knowledgeable, that you can help them. And it can be done in all manner of ways. And this is what we've got here. We've got the heading says static. And these are the things that you would do every week. Don't worry if you can't see it. Look at it on a big screen or whatever. But something happens every week. You've got a beginning and an end. You've got an intro and an outro bit of music or video. There's two. Are you with me? And so you have some standard things that will happen within your show that will happen every week. That's fine. You've then got your variable show segments, which is anything you want it to be. It could just be 2 or 3 people sitting on a sofa having a chat about a given product or situation or talking about the bank problem in America, whatever. People want to watch this stuff. People want to watch people talking. We talked about live shows before. Excuse me. So the thing about this is that the audience want to kind of be, it's kind of like voyeuristic, but they want to see what's happening, whether it's Graham Norton, whether it's Breakfast, anything. They want to see people talking because they feel part of it. And that's what you can put on. So you choose 3 or 4 of these. It could be talking about your customers, talking about your product, talking about special offers, talking about technical, talking about FAQs, talking about another company, another country, another, whatever your staff are doing. It could be anything, but it's live. And I keep emphasizing this thing about live, because you don't have to edit it. Anybody can, I say anybody, Video's different. Video requires editing. I am delivering this here. You know, I've got a button down here. Press the button, make sure I press the right one. Yeah, I get this layout. And you can do the same thing and have multiple cameras and do whatever. But the point of this is that you can do this. You can put on a live show. We'll help you. We'll help you get it set up. I mean, to actually physically go live, I press one button. I mentioned this last week. Press one button and it streams to multiple platforms, multiple accounts, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, same time. So you can do this. No company is, we can't, we're too small for that. It's not, it costs pennies. It takes a bit of creativity. That's where we come in. Okay? So back to this. So you've got your show segments. And then you've got the layout. This is a framework. So you just do this in advance. But if you imagine this thing about a couple of people sitting in front of the camera because they're up for it. You know, a couple of people get on really well. They work together. They've got a good kind of chemistry between them, a bit of banter, whether it's male, female. It's irrelevant. It doesn't make any difference. But you've got these people sit in front of the camera and have a bit of a laugh, and they can talk to other people. That's what your prospects and customers want to see. And they want to see you having a bit of fun doing it. And this bit, I think of this particular live show, I like this. This is the bit I like the most. And you'll see why. So, we've seen this man on television or on cable or whatever you watch, okay? Tucker Carlson. I'm not talking about the news content. I'm just saying, so you've got Tucker Carlson there, and that's the layout for Tucker Carlson. That's me. You go, okay. So that's Tucker Carlson, and that's me. I got the idea. Thought, well, don't reinvent the wheel. You know, he's got the lower. The title at the bottom is called Lower Third. You've got a picture in the back. It says Tucker Carlson Tonight, which moves across, goes behind him. You can just see that. You've got a picture up there. You've got some graphics on the right, and you've got the information at the bottom. No different. I was quite pleased with that. And we did 7 news broadcasts, 1 every day, 2 every day. We did 2 on 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever it was. But this shows you what you can do. Pop up a green screen. You've got a world-class studio. Just use the right box. The right box cost a couple £100, a few £100. So, then it comes to, well, what are you going to do? Well, if you're in the UK, you may have seen this. You will have seen this. You just got some newscasters, but behind them is a graphic. Could be on a screen, might not be, doesn't matter. Standard format, 2 people sitting at a desk. Seen this type of format, 2 people sitting on a sofa, talking to a screen. That person can't see them, they're in another location. It's all made up. Okay? And the 3 other pictures behind them, they're just graphic panels. I saw, is it the weekend? Last week? Yeah, the weekend just gone. I saw on Pinterest, there's a company selling 4K monitor screens or 4K screens that were kind of flexible, but you can put them in a frame. 100 inches diagonally. Massive screen. £50. Doesn't matter how massive, how brilliant the quality is. Get 3 of them. Bingo! You've just got a background, and you can put on there anything. You could be in New York, Paris, anywhere. Just get the pictures. Just get a live stream. Just get a video for Paris, for example. Nobody's going to know any different. You can have a studio in the UK, and you can present it as if you are in any country in the world. Just a bit of creativity. So then let's just go back to Tucker Carlson a second. So you've got Tucker Carlson, 1 host, 1 show, and so on. Then you've got one host, one guest. We've all seen that. One host, 3 guests. We've all seen that as well. One host, 4 guests. The guy with the beard on the left, he's a guy called Photo Joseph. He's a YouTube guy, and this is what they do. They talk about how to use this technology and so on and so on. So you've got four people on a show, 3 people around America, goodness knows where, all streaming at the same time. So it doesn't matter what you're doing. You can show you can present rather your business and include anyone from anywhere to communicate whatever you want to communicate to your customers or prospects. And you still got a couple of 3 people organising and managing all of this. It's scary, exciting, really good, because it's different to everything anybody's doing. People think they've got to go down demand gen, lead gen, ABM. The sales navigator, phone people up, find them, pester them. You know that have you had the emails like I've had? I've messaged you 4 times. How dare you not respond to me? It's like, when did that happen? So the thing about this is that you've got this this spectacular technology which costs pennies, which I keep emphasising costs next to nothing, and you write the whole lot off, and it becomes an asset as soon as you buy it. So it's not like fresh air in terms of putting an advert somewhere. And then you've got this. You've got your a green screen studio, so you can have one person like this, yeah. And like I showed you with the news, so one person in front of a green screen, or 2 people in front of a green screen, and multi-cameras, single camera, multi-camera. But you set the green screen up and have multiple cameras in the green screen. So you could have an enormous studio. I mean, the sky's the limit. To buy the software and the graphics is like $20. You can make them moving with multiple camera angles against a green screen and have any setup like Sky News or the BBC or anything like that, because that's how it's done. But I've gone down the technical bit about how you do it. I mean, if you look at FAB and feature, attribute, benefit, this is what it is, this is what it does, what it means. What it means is exposure and revenue. That's what it means. Because you're not at the behest of all these other activities that are going out there that you're competing with. You don't want to be there. And like I said, you've also got the fact that you've got all these different segments. You go, okay, we can build up a live show. Great. But you've got adverts. When have you ever seen a show without an advert? If you've got an audience, advertise to them. You create a short video, you've got an advert. Play it again and again. And there's a variety of different video adverts that we've got on our website. I'm not going to play it now because I don't want it to go on too long. But you see what I mean? You can do anything, and you go, we'll be back after these messages from our sponsors. We'll be back after we've got a message. We promised to put a message up for one of our partners. This is what we're doing. We've got a new special offer this week. It's about changing the dynamic between you and your prospects for them to go, do you know what? I really like them. I really like that company because they're presenting themselves to me. There's no pressure. There's no in-your-face stuff. I can dip in when I want. And if they don't watch you live, they can watch you on catch-up. It changes the whole dynamic of generating new business, because you want to keep doing what you're doing. So you've got a small group of people doing stuff here. So they're doing it again and again and again and again. Very little cost, nowhere near what you're paying, just infinitesimal compared to what you're paying at the moment. So you've got these people doing this activity, but reaching thousands every single week beyond anything that you're doing at the moment. And the leads come in. So you start it, they get to know you, they get to trust you, know, like, trust, they go and buy from you. So the other part is that if you're going to look at this, you've got your exposure, you've got your engagement. Now we're at education. And that comes back, like I said before, there is no funnel. It doesn't exist. Your customers, your prospects do not want and do not follow a linear path into a funnel, top, middle, bottom of the funnel, come out the bottom and buy. They do not do that. They bounce all over the place. And if you are in a position, if that's the right word, if you are acknowledging their journey, you are nodding to them, saying, respect. We respect what you're doing. We know that you're going to dip it. Look at this, look at that, look at this, and so on and so on. Because that's how you buy. That's how you respond to people that treat you properly. You go, oh, I quite like them. Quite nice, though. It's all right. Every time. So we're kind of coming to the end now. So it's the close. You know, you want to close people. And the thing about it is that what do you want to do? How do you want to do this? And this is the kicker. Do you want to do it face to face? Do you want to do it online? I mean, so imagine. So we've done this. I've sent you all this information. You've downloaded. You've done whatever. You've booked an appointment. Assuming you booked an appointment. So we've got this appointment and we're having this meeting right now. And you go, okay, Nigel, we've been on your website. We've done this. We looked at this and this, that, and the other. Really, just wanted to have a face-to-face chat with you before we went ahead. Great. Oh, yeah, is there any questions? Not really. Or what about this? And I'll chat. And you can bring up stuff like this and talk to them and present whatever you want to present. Exactly like this. This high quality. And I can see this is quite high quality because the bit rate I've got on here is quite high. But high quality, looking at them, looking at your prospects. Not doing this. Oh, yeah, it's really nice to meet you. Yeah, that's right. And you know that the camera's up here, but they're looking down here because they're looking at their screen. I mean, you've got to get away from that. You've got to up the game, up your game. Businesses have to up the game. And those that do, well, you saw the adoption curve. So it depends what you want to do. Do you want to do it, send someone there face-to-face, or sit in front of a camera like this? I'd do this all day long. I haven't got a problem signing. You want to sign up? We'll sign up now. So imagine your reach. The fact that you can communicate nationally or globally, because it does. Whether there could be there could be 2 people watching, there could be 200,000 people watching. I'm just glad I don't know, because I think I might be a bit phased if there was 200,000 people. But you see what I mean? It doesn't make any difference. Same effort. We're good. So if you can do that in terms of broadcasting, you can do the same thing in terms of selling. If you run a business, you wouldn't have a problem putting a camera and some technology into the homes or locations where your salespeople are, for them to be closing left, right and centre. You wouldn't hesitate. And that's what this is about. It's about changing the way that this happens, and that's what this is about. Writing new business needs a different approach, not a new sales technique. And that's what makes this so exciting, is because I can't speak to everybody in the world, not at all. I can only speak to a small number of people, and the small number of people that are listening to what I've done and what I've researched and worked on for the past however many years, you are getting the benefit of this. Nobody else is. So there's a recap, change your approach, plan a strategy. Your staff are the people that do the hard graft per se, because they sit in front of the camera. it's one of those things, before, when I've done the other stuff, when I'm kind of getting used to doing this, and you go, oh, I must have a teleprompter because I kind of freeze or don't know what to say. You probably wouldn't think that now, and I've got notes down. I've got notes just down here, a little laptop here, and I highlight the things I need to bring out or need to mention, just so as I don't need to read everything all at once. But the point is that, see, this is why I need a teleprompter. I lost my train of thought there. So the point is that your staff, if there's two of you, that's where I was going with this. If there's two of you, you spar off each other, you bounce off each other, and it's good fun. That's why your staff are the people that are the right people to do it. They're the people that know the product, and you can have someone sitting behind to one side, not on camera, monitoring the questions and emails that come in. And we're going to do that in the last show, not next week, but the last one. We're going to do that, and we'll take questions and we'll answer questions live, and so on and so on. And I'll be with Liz, and Liz will help me, and you'll get to meet her as well. But that's the point. So that's what we've done today. And next week, what we're going to talk about next week is converting this, depending on how you want to do it, to a podcast or a video podcast, and you've got different places where that can be posted and so on. And then taking your show on the road. You at the moment, you do these events. You have to go and do round table events or paid for events, and these people charge you a fortune. But don't forget, you've got your 10,000 name database. You can put on your own show and do a road show, and then take all of this whole streaming setup with you, and stream from a hotel somewhere. And invite your localized prospects to come and see you, come and talk to you. There's loads of things you can do. Which begs the question about, do you really need to do any events? Because if you've got your total addressable market as a database, why do you need to go and do any events? Pay for tens of thousands of pounds for your exhibition stand. Go and do your own live show, road show. Lots of things to talk about. Lots of things and possibilities. And then, of course, with the shows you've got, that you can do demonstration, presentation, talk about customer success, help enhance customer success, that type of thing. And we'll just kind of touch on some of our deliverables and what we do and how we work, just as a kind of to finish that off. But that's what we've got set up for next week, and that's it for this show. I hope you enjoyed it. What I'm trying to do is sow seeds. That's all. And we've talked about how you can create shows and get that reach and that exposure to your total addressable market, which is the only thing that should be important to you. Nothing else matters. And so therefore, let's just do it at scale. So that's it. So really, enjoy tomorrow, the rest of today and tomorrow and the weekend. Have a great week next week, and I hope you can join me next Thursday, same time, 11 o'clock UK time. And we'll go through that project management kind of setup and what the different options are. Bye for now.